Is it the atmosphere or like trying to isolate like toxic players or people that are taking it out on the people and not on the characters because of how they play in the game? Or people that play the game too seriously? Which layer specifically?
I think I think it's the one where people kind of treat it as like when they're like you should like kill yourself. I feel like that's where we going kind of crazy, and I feel like it gets there very fast.
Okay. So the best way I can think about this one, where it's just like, it's people's anger about the game that's transitioned from the character to the person playing the character because they're trying to not bulldoze past the person, but they're trying to have like a smooth, free ride into wherever the destination is or wherever the journey is. Like story where it's not the destination where you're going, it's the journey to get there. They want the journey to get there to be as painless, quote unquote, or as the least amount of bumpy as possible, whereas you will get through these turbulent areas once in a full moon where you do have to deal with, okay, maybe someone playing a top tier or a hated character or a character with this button that's very annoying and that just happens to be conveniently abusable, or a friend that you want to put differences aside, but it's just, oh my god, it's so difficult because you're playing this character.
Man,
Like, I want to
yeah.
let you guys know out there, like, it's not so much like trying to think on how to deal with this one because isolating players like that in the community do help with like the local scenes and your spaces. It's something that does have to be handled carefully, so it's not like a campaign rumor, or some type of like opinion bandwagoning. So it doesn't cross the lines of like trying to be discriminatory or threatening or unnecessary personal harassment, or it's not trying to target weaker or newer players. It's not a continual disruptive energy. They're not trying to be intense in the competition like that unless it's in the game. It's not really about ego. There's no rivalries, and it's not trash talk or pop offs. Like those aren't like most of those aren't automatically harmful elements in FGC culture that would lead to engaging hostility in a lot of the social cues that generally playing a set via a casual or a rank or a 1v1 would insinuate, right? Like, the key thing that's going into that, I think, has to come from like, where's the line between like what is like trash talk or what's community damage or personal damage? What behavior actually drives people into these like aggressive autopiloting encounters, or like do people, or does it just come from the stigma of top players playing this shit, and then you have to, and then does it come from people playing it too much, or does it come from like characters being held to a standard, players being held to a higher standard? What makes people feel safe playing controversial characters, quote unquote? Or does it just differ from region to region? Like, okay, you got people here in North America that are quicker to be at each other's throats than shake each other's hands, whereas, okay, what about Europe or Brazil or Germany or UK maybe, where, okay, over there they play the top tier and they play a whole bunch of busted ass shit all the time and look each other with smiles on their face and say, GG, GG. I don't know. Like,
I think it's definitely like I feel like part of this part that goes into it is definitely like top players because I think that like top players kind of like in a way a lot of people like want to be like hive mind low key. So like if a top player like says something, like they're like yeah, you know what? I agree. That right there, that's the right opinion. No other opinion matters. And you can tell because a lot of the times when you ask people stuff, they like they don't answer your question like for real. They'll just be like just a weird version of just because, honestly. And you'd be like, wow, okay, so that guy didn't know anything. He was probably just fucking repeating something he's seen. And
Okay.
I feel like that's not specifically people's fault sometimes, but I feel like you should try to be conscious of it.
Absolutely. It's like I'm not saying to not be mad about how a character plays, but you just want to be conscientious of how you want to manifest or release that pent up frustration or anger about the character because you don't want to because you the key thing in fighting games long term, and this is what separates people that are one track about it, kind of green in the scene, and those that aren't one track about it, and those that can respectfully differentiate between the two, is that you have to separate the person, the player, and you have to separate the character.
Right.
That's easier said than done sometimes, but more often than not, it's actually really simplistic. Like hell, like for games, like think about it, chat. So for like Street Fighter 6, there's like you got your JPs or your Camis. For Fatal Fury, you got Kane. For Tekken, you got Elisa or a Mishima or the fucking Panda.
The fucking
Yeah.
panda. Don't forget Kuma. Please don't forget
Oh, and
Kuma.
Kuma. Yes, and you got your Kumas. In fighters, you got your lab coats, you got your Jiren, your Gotenks, and probably Beerus, depending upon the environment. You get Melty, you got your Michael Roas and your Noels and Mash. In DNF, you got your Kunoichis and maybe Swiftmaster. I mean, he can still get it in some sense. In Uni 2, you got your Londrakias and your Carmines and your freaking Hildas. BB Tag, you got Yumi and Odachi, maybe Ruby, and 9 the Phantom. Oh my gosh. Or in Mortal Kombat, stereotypically, what you got your Cetrions, or maybe what was it, Johnny Cage in some iterations, or not Lee. What the fuck was his name? Liu Kang in other iterations. You got like your Poster Boy 1 or Poster Boy 2 that are always public enemy number 1 because there isn't an iteration where they aren't totally bad. They're good in every single freaking version of a Mortal Kombat game. I just mentioned Cetrion because Cetrion supposedly sucks ass, but she's also a top tier in the game that literally sells right when she gets to grand finals or losers finals because T-Heat, let's keep her where she is. Like, there's a reason.
Cetrion was
why.
actually really fun, to be honest. I played Cetrion and Cassie in that game, MK11.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually kind of fun. I ain't gonna lie, she was kind of dope.
She was the bomb. Like a zoner that actually has hands, and then you can change your play styles. That way, it's a little less zoning, more setup, and then combo into setup, and then I can just casually zone you out. Like, bro, it's kind of good.
You know, that's
And
just
damn near
kind of
had
fire.
no bad matchup. Yeah, like I love the way she played. I just hate being against it.
Yeah, nah, it'd be like that. It'd be like that. Because as much
It
as
do.
as much as I love playing Elisa, bro, I'll play against another Elisa. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like,
I
I'd
feel
be
that.
like, yo, we are not playing the same character.
Yeah. But like all these characters that I mentioned, chat, like all of them will have like a trigger, like a trigger to them, to some degree, where it's impossible to be okay with the game with like how they play, either to the smaller or to the bigger extent of the Mickey or the BS, so to speak. I just say Mickey casually in order to, colorfully tap dance around the TOS, where it's difficult to want to say GG's with these matchups because they can kind of just monkey their way in to where I just don't want to block. Their whole play style is just like, hey, let's just play the game. I don't want to block, G. I really don't want to block. I just want to just do shit.
I just want to do shit.
I just want to do shit, and I just want to just get to you win, whether that's you or me. It don't matter. I just want to just play the game. And there's something animalistic about these characters. Either there's always there's something always with the character. I just can never figure it out, or something that's going on with like how these things work. It's either the character design appeal or the play style and their neutral appeal, or the general character is just loved or hated by their lore, or the character's salt ratio and the ignorance thereof to it, or just the game has a really good or a really badass reputation. I mean, not bad in a good way, but bad in a it sucks ass way, where it's just so easy to target players because of that character or characters, and it's just I don't like it. Or you can dismiss them in the bias until you meet that person elsewhere, and then all of a sudden that bias just goes out the window. Like, I'm trying to think on how else I want to look at this. Like some of the reasons I think is because you can also layer, okay, the scene. Some people would also be quicker to say that the scene is more passionate before they call it toxic, but there are patterns in those instances, thus what I named, that make it feel hostile or exhausting and draining or exclusionary for players. Like, hell, I think some of the background reasons for some of that is, and some of those reasons that I named that have to do with the game, if we go back to the game and not the person. Okay, competition can be a personal thing in fighting games. So team games, single games, team games mainly, blames get spread around. In a one-on-one fighting game like your Street Fighter or Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Asterisk, every loss feels direct, and that creates a lot of strong emotions or ego clash or sometimes harassment. And you got old school
harassment
culture.
Be going crazy.
Yeah, and then you got old school culture sometimes that does still influence behavior. So a lot of FGC culture came from arcades where loud trash talk or intimidation and the prove yourself attitudes were normal. A quarter goes a long way back in that day compared to now, I tell you what. Some players see that as hype and community bonding. Others experience it as gatekeeping or bullying or talking shit needlessly. Another one. All right, skill gaps are pretty brutal. Not saying that playing these characters creates a skill gap, but it creates the salt to where it could create the illusion or the fog of a skill gap. Fighting games are steep learning curves. New players can lose 20 matches in a row not understanding why. If the community responds with, okay, just get good or learn the matchup, then it makes people feel unwelcome. Or the other side of that, where you happen to be playing a character that is good, so you're good by default, and you just happen to be playing the character's good buttons because, oh, I don't know, that's the character, then it makes people feel further unwelcome, and it encourages the bullying aspect because, oh, he's playing this character. Another one is like the online culture to some degree. As much as I'm an online advocate and I always will be, but I also have to own up to the fact that online culture does amplify negativity. It doesn't try to encourage. It amplifies negativity more than it encourages positivity. That's not its fault completely. It's just how a lot of ecosystems work because people like drama for some reason. And so Twitter, you got your Discord arguments or systems and stream chats that can reward a lot of outrage and humiliations or a lot of extra ass activity. A player getting clipped in a tournament can become a meme overnight, or a simple tiff in an argument because of how a character feels or how they should play versus how they will play or are being played can have a friendly match go to a heated debate pretty damn fast depending upon how intense the match is. And another one I would probably take a look at also is the financial stress effects that communities go under. That, okay, eventually if you look at an event big enough, okay, how does money play into this? So think about it like this. How often do people know of the matchup of a character that's deemed very, very annoying? Usually the case in this is
10%.
that you need...
Sorry.
There you go.
10%. Oh my goodness, every time somebody messages me and I'm like, that's the first thing they do is they start telling me lies about the character I'm playing. Only when people are telling me truths do I respect what you're talking about truly.
Yeah.
And so, you find. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you find a lot of people that just say like, I'm telling you, man, like they just hear people be like, nah, that's bullshit, and they never go to look into it because a lot of the times when you look into it, I would say there's still a 6 out of 10 chance that it's bullshit, right? I'm not gonna lie to you. Like sometimes it really is bullshit. But
It is.
what
That's a
you'll
part of the spice that
find
a character will have sometimes.
is that instead of that 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 where everything you thought was bullshit, you're like, actually, that's slow and punishable. I just need to like recognize when this person's doing it. And suddenly your opponent's scared to do that move because sometimes when you find out that somebody knows, like you start playing different. That's something like you have to personally adapt to is when you fight somebody and you're like, damn, like they actually like they know how to fight this character.
Right. And that's where I was going with that is because, okay, where we go into community stresses, where if you see the character representation enough, you should know the matchup. Or if you see other people play the matchup enough, usually at a higher level or a higher base presentation of the character's structural toolkit and edifice, you have a better idea of how to play the neutral, you have a better idea of how to pressure, you have a better idea of what you're looking for in the matchup because the character logically by flowchart design, not always by the individual person's design, not the player, but the character will play or press this button here or play this way because it's a part of the character's flowchart in which to do so. The game of Uni or the game of Fighters or BB Tag or a Mortal Kombat or a Tekken or a Street Fighter or a Fatal Fury is not that complex in its own environment in terms of understanding how a formula functions on how a character is supposed to play, understanding what the character's win condition is, right? Yeah, there's going to be some characters that have bullshit that make it easier to set up or transition into a win condition, but it's also your job to, as best as you can, understand how to stop that or how to get your character's win condition first before theirs. That way now they have to backtrack defensively before they can resume offensively, right?
And you really know what it is, Rodimus.
What's up?
What it really is, what I think it boils down to, is people they're scared. I feel like I don't want to say they're scared to acquire knowledge, but they don't. They either don't want to acquire knowledge or they don't know how. Because all
They're
you
scared to
have to
really apply
do,
it.
maybe it is the applying part. Because all you have to do, well, not all you have to do, but first you just really have to understand, like the thing that you are like hating on. Like I feel like that it is so simple in a fighting game because like you have a practice range with that character unless they're DLC and unless you're playing Tekken 8 because Tekken 8 does not want you to lab against DLC characters you don't own. Fuck you, Tekken 8. Sorry you gotta
I
hold that
hate that
shit.
shit.
That shit's
I hate
so
that shit
fucking
so
ass.
much.
But usually you have the practice range and you have your own way to be like, yeah, I can play, you can play that exact character and do that exact move 95% of the time. Like I feel like there's no excuse, and sometimes I have to hold that shit too because there's characters I don't know how to fight. I could have been learned how to fight them. I just don't,
Yeah.
and I get it because sometimes you just want to play the game, right? Sometimes you just want to hop on and press buttons and get off. But at some point, like, and I guess this kind of goes into how interested you are in getting better, possibly. Because at some point, like, you gotta learn, unless you really like you want to lose to that shit. I guess, like, you don't. But how bad do you want it at that point, right?
That's what I'm saying. At some point, just like it's not even like learning the matchup. You also just have to have the appetite to want to do better and to be better. That way, the bullshit can't get to you. Like I'll even give you guys an example. Because like for like playing a lot of the young bucks and whatnot in this generation, whatnot, it pisses me off every time I try to learn a new game or try to go back and revisit current existing fighting games where okay bullshit will reign because everybody's figured it out but will still be annoyed by it because it's still its own bullshit at the end of the day. Yes, I get annoyed by dealing with like Eurodachis in BB Tag and your Nine the Phantoms or the occasional lab coat. Despite her nerf, is still fucking annoying because spin to win. Or the few times I play Melty Blood and I fight Michael
Bro,
Rose, I want to
wait,
punch my fucking screen because the fucker
fucking
just doesn't block.
bro, and bro, lab coat is bad, But UI Goku though,
He's
UI
moving up my list pretty
Goku,
damn
bro.
fast.
I don't know, man. That's a character, bro. I don't know what that character is. That shit's kind of evil. It feels like.
UI's moving up my list pretty damn fast. I haven't fought the wrong one just yet. Not in this generation, but he's moving up there pretty fast. He's on the outskirts of my top five. Like, where it's just like, just fuck you, bro. Almost. He's almost there. Right now, Lab Coats, Goat Tankses, and some Jirens have me that's my personal anti-top three.
Yeah, Jiren definitely got me feeling some type of way a lot of times.
Yeah, but anyway, Chad, I say all this to say this because, like, I get angry at all those times. I use that anger to help me play more aggressively when it counts. That way, when you get the hit, you make the hit freaking hurt. You make sure that the character does not get back up. That way, it doesn't hurt you anymore.
That's facts right there. Actually, that's the one.
There's
Sometimes,
just
like,
like that bad character, that bad character where it's just like they do a whole bunch of dumb shit. You want to hit the character so bad. Show the character how to do real neutral. Yes, sometimes you might have to play cautious. Yes, sometimes you might have to play tactfully reckless. Other times you might have to be aggressive, but don't overstay your welcome. Otherwise, they can go right back to abusing that stupid shit you hated in the first place, right? Use the engine and the mechanics of the game to the best of your capabilities in order to use better sense and better jurisdiction in order to just punish as best as you're able to. Even if it's not like the best combo, the fact is that you're punishing the character for doing that stupid shit that you thought you can get away with.
man, because as soon as you punish them, it's like you really gotta have a different bag to go into once your opponent knows how to fight your character. Like you have
Yes.
to be able to play differently now, or you just fucking perish. And that's really it. Like you need to have multiple like layers to your gameplay, but that's only if people are willing to learn and then apply said knowledge.
Yeah. Appetite is like a key portion in that wanting to get the difference you want. You got to have the appetite.
And I think that once you meet those people who do like have that appetite, I feel like it makes it more fun because, or at least for me personally, it makes it more fun because you can't just do like okay. And as you were saying earlier, when you play a character like said hated or said easy or said like annoying character, you can fall into flowcharts and people can't stop you. And so when that starts happening sometimes, and you meet the person who can stop you, they're like, yo, no, you can't keep doing that. I know how to beat this. I know how to beat everything. For me, I'm like, yo, this is exciting. Like it gets kind of boring. At least still to me, it gets a little boring to just do like the flow charts all the time and win. Like, like I wanna see somebody who knows like the shit so I can move on to the next shit.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, like a lot of the times, one as the attacker, right? You just cooked what you were hating on like so bad. Like that shit that you were like, oh, this is broken. I don't know. You can't. Blah blah blah. What the blah blah blah. Like when you did that shit, you can stop that now. Do you know how that fucking feels, Rodimus? Because I know how that shit feels. When I first learned how to fight How Wrong in Tekken, I ah I like wanted to scream, bro. Like it's such a feeling to beat that like that what you felt that way about. And I don't know, I wish more people would fucking try it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, like be competitively involved, be passionate about your work, be passionate about your game, but also be sure to have the mental line drawn so that way if you get tilted or whatnot, stop right there because you identified your trigger. You identified your trigger. Don't go any further past this point.
Man, and yeah, it is so important to know like when to stop sometimes because you're just not if you're not mentally in a place to where you can learn, like it's actually you're actually bullshitting at that point. Like you're not bullshitting, but you're kind of like you're not helping yourself. Like
Right.
when you're 5 games into, or even just like I don't know, 2-3 games into something, and you're like, I don't fucking this shit makes me heated, bro. Like you like okay, maybe you should get off at that point. Maybe you should give it up just for a little
That's
bit,
what I'm
just until
saying.
you're ready again.
Right. And there's no shame in just stopping and pausing because if you just keep going while you're tilted, fighting whatever the shitty characters you're coming across, it stacks up. And unfortunately, the game will also reflect that because your ratio and your queue matchmaking will also reflect that. Now you're
Mm-hmm.
actually fucked.
Mm-hmm. You ever queued a late night rage, and now you done queue 6, 7, 8, 9 games. You done lost your rank. You might have lost two
Yep.
ranks. You might have lost 2 ranks, and you just pissed off. And you wait.
That's it.
You finally decide to go to sleep because you're like, bro, you just have to stop. Like you have to. And you wake up in the morning, you get back on, or maybe you get back on like the next night, and you're like, fuck, I really did that shit. That shit's self embarrassing, low key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like like it hurts, man. I even thinking about it, talking about it now, I'm like, but yeah, you have to be like, you just have to be like ready and willing, and you have to even. I feel like even if it's something that makes you really mad, but like if you learn one thing about the character in the interaction, like you're good. Some people, or not some people, I'm sorry, some games have like replay takeover.
That's a nice thing that they put in for some games nowadays. I wish that could be like an ongoing thing that games are incorporating.
I think 2XKO just got it.
Yeah, they did. 'Cause Tekken's had it, Uni 2's had it, and I feel there was another one, but it's something that's something that needs to be like respectfully normalized.
Yeah, no, that literally that crossplay and rollback, is that like the three? That's the three we need. I think
Yeah,
that's
those
the
are the
three we
three that would
need.
make up a
Yeah,
game experience.
you put those three in a fighting game, and you basically made it. Now, of course, you got to do balance and shit, but you know, you basically made it. You got those three, especially if you're like a big IP.
Yeah.
Like you're definitely in there. But I think that's all I really have on this subject. Do you have anything else interesting to add?
Mainly that, just revisiting what I said in summarization. Mainly just trying to learn your matchups. Also, learn yourself and identify your triggers. That way, the character, as much BS as they may be, you also identify when enough is enough. That way, you're not putting yourself through it for the end goal. Mental fortitude and understanding the maximum of your fortitude is very important. That way, you're not trying to strive on tilt because then it leads to more negative results than positive results, not just in the game, but also in yourself and your attitude with how you approach this one game or other games.
That is so true.
And then three is just matchup check. Study what it is you hate about the character. That way, it's easier to understand how to beat this character. Even if you can't get the matchup down, understand that, okay, eventually their matchup requires us to go back into ABC. So eventually one of these things will happen in the matchup, which means you can be ready for it that time. Also, there are some instances where you can fight bots. Fight the bot. Fight bots. That way you don't have to fight real people. This way it allows you to learn a matchup or learn very uncomfortable situations consistently. That way they become less uncomfortable in real time situations. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, man, I think you hit the nail on the head right there, bro. I do kind of want to add to the whole Jesus, hold on. I do want to add on to the whole point about, just kind of like keeping your mental good while you go through all this stuff, because it's going to leak into your real life. You do have to be careful with stuff like that. Like, you personally, I don't think you should be playing fighting games if you have had a bad day in real life. Like, to be completely 100% honest with you, I don't think you should do it. Like,
I
okay,
can agree with
sometimes
that.
you're gonna do it anyway, right? You're not gonna listen to me, and that's okay. You're gonna do it, but you're gonna think about this video when you get your ass kicked, and you're like, wow, this is making my day fucking worse. Because that shit, oh, that shit's fucked up, bro. That shit's fucked up.
Yup.
But yeah, you definitely shouldn't queue up like that, and you should like, you just gotta make sure that you're not feeling like you're not beating yourself up for real about what happened in the game. Because at the end of the game, at the end of the day, even though we love fighting games, like, it is just a game in a way. Like, you're not like a loser in real life because you lost at a fighting game. Like, it's okay. Unless you were at Evo or Combo Breaker or CEO or something, and you were like grandfather, was like, it's okay, bro. Like, and even in those scenarios, it's still the same situation. It's okay, but it's a little added like, ooh, damn, sorry. But you still can't let that like leak over into your real life. And I know that's hard because that shit has happened to me like multiple times. Like, I've literally been having a shitty day, got on, played shitty, got my ass kicked, and I was just like, that's those you about to break your controller days. I don't know if anyone ever had a you about to break that controller day. That shit, that shit sucks.
Oh yeah. I was like, those are times where you're just trying to come on and just do your thing, and then other people doing their thing puts you right into that red zone.
Yup, yup. You'd be like, fuck, but I can't. But yeah, I think that's probably everything related to this subject, which honestly went a lot of interesting ways I did not expect. So I'm kind of glad we talked about it.
Awesome. It was a pretty enlightening topic. I haven't really sat and delved into the premise on the, well, not fighting game toxicity, but more so like people singling out people because of their like character specialties. It's one that that I've been taking a look at for a few months because there's a lot of games out there in the pool right now, and even some old games where it's just like, okay, there's a lot of easy targets that you can make that are enough to make a decent argument for why people resonate to these characters in these scenes, if
Right.
it's not, or if it revolves around or doesn't revolve around them just liking the character. There are other logical factors on why they resonate to these things. But yeah, thanks
But
for having me on here today.
bro, it's no problem, man. It's always fun. It's always a good time. And with that, guess we're gonna
Chat,
go
let us know
ahead.
down below what you think.
Yeah, definitely let us know, man. Because honestly, yeah, this is a subject that I feel like I want other people's opinions on, like, for real. Because, like, some people are just ready to always be bad and be angry, and I know some people put thought into it, and those are the more interesting people. Like, when they actually like even if you just have a reason and it's valid, like, it's kind of valid, I'd be like, damn, like, I get it.
Oh,
But yeah, until then, I think I'm gonna close the video up. Boom.